spiritually sound.
Well, that's if you're into that. If you're spiritual or whatever.
Submission thing. If you're into just
What up, y'all? Josh and Issa here once again, back with part 2 of reacting to our trifling old selves.
Yes. If you have not seen part 1, definitely pause this video and go watch that. Otherwise, this isn't going to make too much sense to you.
It is important that because we lived our lives out publicly, we should also have the courage and the responsibility of repenting publicly for the things that we put out on the internet. So. Yes. You gotta bite the bullet.
A little harsh last time.
I was pretty harsh on myself last time.
I think it was shock.
Yeah, I think it was shock.
Seen it.
Yeah. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing to know that you give your unfiltered opinion and it stinks.
And it was wrong.
It was wrong.
Yeah.
Real wrong. Mm-hmm. Who knows? Even though the revised version of us, we might even go back and look at that again.
Sure, but that's growth though. Like that's the journey of life. So the way we're even thinking at the end of our 20s is not how we're gonna think at the end of our 40s. I doubt we'd still be on here this way by then, but who knows? God has the last word.
Yeah.
But I am grateful for the growth that is seen in us based on that version when that was like 2019 versus 2024.
Yeah.
And I think that was December 2019.
Yeah.
So it's been exactly like 5 years.
Anyways, we're gonna go ahead and hop right into this. Apologies if it's blurry. We're trying not to do commercials in between, so we're just getting an old downloaded version of it. But anyways, let's hop into this. We're at 1403.
Years ago, imagine how that was centuries ago.
when they wrote it.
That's why I just don't agree with it. But back to what you were saying, I don't feel like our son won't have respect for you or view you as an authority figure because you view me as your equal, or you treat me like your equal, or you consult me about things, or vice versa. I think that shows a healthy relationship.
Yes, I'm saying if it took like let's say.
Now, if I overthrew you,
yes, that's what I'm saying.
That's different.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm
saying if it took like a role reversal.
I get that, and some women do that, and I don't agree with it.
And if I took that submissive and like, now you're the head of the household, you're making like our sons would not respect.
Or you said plural, you think we have multiple?
I think we have multiple.
Okay.
I don't think they would have respect.
I still stand by multiple.
Oh gosh. Sons
or daughters. I'm really not opposed to girls or boys. I just want healthy children.
Same.
I got that.
So that's why I think a lot of men, instead of like trying to find that even balance, will just say, I just need to be on top. Even if it's just a little, I just need to be on top. Just to make sure that my sons don't try me. Because like a son will lose, like if a son finds out, it's natural. It's not even like if he wants to or not. Subconsciously, it's the same with dogs, it's the same with like wolf packs. If they sense weakness, timidness, or like non-authoritative energy, the next dog steps up.
Now take kids out the picture though. Did you just saying it's a matter of the sons or the kids seeing that the dad gets respect or whatever from the woman? What if there's no kids in the picture?
And instead of that, now taking that energy, this is not me speaking for myself, this is me speaking for men.
How are you speaking for some men? You shouldn't say all. This is all kind of
you're right. This is all kind of like just
out there,
I think it's just a natural masculinity thing that they don't want to yield power. I just don't think they want to yield any power. And I think that's kind of the issue that's been taking place for centuries now. Men just don't want to like give up the power that they've been granted. We see it in everything. We see it in America with white people, black people. There's never going to come a point where like the white congregation comes together and be like, hey, here you go. You know, it's just not going to happen. White people will never be like, hey, yeah, we run it and we're giving up our power to you guys now. They'll never just like pass the torch on to black people and be like, hey, you got it, man. This is your country now. It just doesn't happen. Power doesn't give up power. Power is taken.
I got that.
Okay, so in a sense, it's kind of the same with men and women. Like,
What?
It's still kind of true.
It is accurate.
Power don't give up power.
Yeah, that part. And because the only thing that I'm kind of like about with that statement is like, I think it was too cloaked and generalized of not all white people move like that. Like, you know what I mean?
It's an overgeneralization that should be retracted. But those in power will not give up said power.
No.
It must be taken. Or it must be usurped, or we must establish new power. But yeah, that was a very unhinged blanket statement.
Yeah.
I like white people. I mean, everybody's my brother and sister in Christ. If you're on the same team, I'm with you. I'm rocking with you if you're on my team. Now, Let's move on.
Move on.
Power isn't given up, power is kind of taken, and men almost see that as a challenge.
But I feel like
It's
you
a back and forth.
have given up your power in certain scenarios in our relationship to equal things out.
And that's because I personally believe that it shouldn't be that way. I'm not.
Well, I guess also, even if you didn't give it up, we just wouldn't be together.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, that. And I'm not like totally insecure in the fact that I'm okay with being your equal instead of being the authoritative figure.
I guess this is interesting too, because like there's so much in the balance of this conversation where I do feel like you still treat me as an equal.
Yeah.
And I view you as that.
I feel like we are completely equal because we're all children of God. No one is above or beneath one or the other. I do think that, again, there are roles within the household that create structure that is conducive for a healthy functioning system.
Yeah.
And that's point blank, period. I'm not sitting here like, I make all the financial decisions. I would totally love for us to come together and make decisions like that. If someone kicks in that door and there becomes like this high alert mode, that I might start barking out orders at that point. Get behind me.
Yes.
Get back.
Of course.
Everybody move.
Yeah.
It's not because I'm trying to be. I'm just like, I can't have you in the way. I gotta go whoop this dude's behind real quick. Or I gotta protect y'all. Or like, you know, like in high stakes situations.
Was I can't have you in the way before it's protection.
Yeah, well actually I would love to have you like right there in case I'm getting worked. You know what I'm saying? Like I need you to jump in and help a ninja out if I'm getting worked in. But yeah, like in high stakes situations, yes, a commander needs to take a commanding position in direct traffic.
I ain't gonna do that.
Exactly.
That ain't my place.
And like if things like are high emotional stakes or something like that, someone needs to be like, okay, cut these emotions down now. We gotta figure this out. Clear plain logic. Wait. You know what I'm saying? And like, that's not to say that you're incapable of doing that though, by the way, too. I believe that you are very level-headed in a lot of situations, which I respect and love that about you.
Thank you.
But yeah, that's the only time I would say like authoritative position kind of like kicks in real hard. Like,
But it doesn't feel like it's authority, and I think that for me that was the difficulty with like the topic of submission back then, because it's like I definitely felt like this is what mid-20s or whatever, so it's like I'm an adult at this point, so who are you to kind of step in and try to control my life, XYZ type thing. But it was an ignorance and lack of understanding, like a naiveness to what submission is. And I still don't think it's a matter of authority. I think you're the leader. So in a regard, I guess that gives you the authority, but I don't view it as like a dictator type of thing.
Yeah, and I don't take it as like a dictator either. Again, I follow Christ, and I bring Christ's words back to this home, and then we follow that.
Yeah.
Perfectly fine with us coming to a mutual agreement on decisions, or us like both being contributors to the household. Hell, I think at some point when kids come into the equation, we're gonna have to figure out who's gonna take care of the kids, and I'm okay with us being equal in that too. Now, granted, I can't breastfeed. That's definitely all you.
You know, it's funny though. I think it's important to touch on the fact that you haven't always had this mentality.
Yeah,
because when we first met, you wanted me to be a stay-at-home mom like your mom. Remember we had that conversation?
Yeah, I grew up off it.
Yeah.
I didn't really like. I've done a whole lot of growth.
You have since we've been together. Honestly,
there's been an entire amount of growth.
You're like a new freaking person.
Since I first got into this relationship, and if you guys have watched like our year 1, 2, 3, 4s, whatever, you'll see
the maturity and the progress.
If you even watch our YouTube videos, there's been a sense of like maturity that's taken place. And I think that's just me kind of reaching a new level of adulthood. So I feel as though
I kind of demanded that out of you though. Well, I mean I say demanded. Let me change that.
Yeah.
I feel like this is a required type of thing. I kind of required a partner who could be goofy and fun and stuff, but also be serious and know how to turn things on and off. You know, we've always been intellectual. That was never the problem. It was more so like the emotional maturity we always kind of struggled with, and I feel like now we're kind of starting to balance out. In year 5, we will be doing a year 4 video for y'all really soon though. We'll make year 5 in like 2 months, 3 months. Either way, you can see the growth in you, definitely. And I'm not going to take full credit for that, but I do feel like being with me kind of forced you. Well, it was up to you to decide if you wanted to do it or not. If you wanted to mature, if you wanted to excel, whatever. But being with someone like me, that's kind of what I like seek from my partner. So it's either you can do this or you can't.
And this is a perfect example of what I mean as she refused to submit in a and what I wish there was another word than submit. But you refused to lower your standard for me, and I had a choice of either to raise my bar of excellence to meet your standard, or fall by the wayside and just let this relationship crumble. And I think.
Do you think that's still accurate?
I definitely think like you raised a standard of excellence in me.
And what do you mean by excellence?
Like you weren't gonna allow me to not be the best version of myself. And I appreciate that about you even now to this day. Like you don't allow me to accept mediocrity from myself. And I can only appreciate that. I feel like that's a great quality to have in a woman. A woman that's not gonna like boost your ego just to make you feel good about yourself and puff your ego up in the air only for
Or
life
deflate,
to come
whatever
deflate.
you
Yeah,
do.
one or the other. But
Yeah.
I definitely feel like you are the woman for me, and I know why God gave you to me.
Yeah.
Because like
And same, vice versa.
yeah, there's things
Absolutely.
that you have opened my eyes to and helped me to grow.
You
And I
too.
think that's what a relationship and a marriage, especially a God-centered relationship and a
Yeah.
God-centered marriage will do for us.
Yeah.
Just like consistently refining each other in areas that we're blind to.
Yes.
4 eyes is better than 2 eyes. We got 40-40 vision right now. So like,
Okay.
but yeah, I could tell there was a tinge of pride in there, like, I'm greasing your ears.
I know, I wanted to address that. 'Cause I'm like,
And I'm like, in the back of my head, I'm like, I mean, you're a part
I
of
get
it.
I get what she was saying.
But
what she
glory
was
to
trying
God.
to,
But glory to God.
Yeah,
you know
like
what
that
I'm
was the
saying?
missing. Well, I didn't know him.
Yeah, I know.
So that was the missing piece of like realizing like everything that God has instilled to create me was intentional for me to be the wife or girlfriend even at that time that I needed to be for you.
Yeah.
Like and vice versa.
And vice versa, yeah.
So it's just interesting because
You were claiming credit for something.
yeah, life without God, you think it's all you. Like I'm big dog, I did this, I did that, blah blah blah. You're not realizing like how ignorant, bro. There was definitely a puff up of like
Yeah. I can see the puff.
Yeah,
I can definitely see
like-
the puff. Every time you said something,
you
it just
blessed
kinda
to be
puffed a
with
little
me.
bit more.
And I said that in my recent video though. Like there was definitely a season of my life, well up until more recently, where it was like whether you my friend, you my man, you whatever to me, you're blessed.
Yeah.
I had that energy without even knowing that the blessings, like who the blessings was coming from and that it wasn't me. Like it's just so much.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I'm glad your vision's open though.
I'm glad I changed the language here and there. Like some things I caught.
Yeah, you caught yourself.
Like
a
the
little bit.
demand, I was like, that's not.
It's aggressive.
It's very aggressive. And you can't command or demand anything.
Yeah,
from
because then that's
anyone.
basically just a role reversal right there. I'm
But
like,
you don't demand anything from me either.
I don't.
It's that like it's the I don't have a word. It just ain't it though.
Yeah, we set expectations though,
Yes, and standards
and boundaries.
and boundaries. But yeah, the demand that was real
Yeah,
far.
a demand is very domineering.
Yeah.
and I think that's what we've been trying to avoid this whole time. An authoritative demanding, like I demand this from you. You're going to cook, right?
But similar to what you said it pretty often though about like you can't force anybody to do anything.
That's not love.
Yeah, like, but also they don't. If they don't want to, they won't. Like people are always asking, kind of like, how do I change my man, or how do I convince him to do this, that, and the other? It's like that's not in your authority or power to do.
My number one response to that question in today's day and age is pray for them. Pray
Yeah.
fervently for them
Yeah.
that the Lord
Will work on
their
that.
minds. And then
Don't be looking at my mind like that.
but you pray fervently for them. Like you
Oh,
pray
yeah,
fervently
yeah,
for them.
yeah.
And then not only that, but like you be the example or you be the thing that you wish to see in that person. Like if you want them to be more patient,
Yes.
extend that patience to them.
Yeah.
Just give them the example. And even if it feels like, oh, I'm getting crushed right now in this moment, like you can still pray for them. And then at some point, the Lord, if they are God-fearing, this is why it's important for them to be God-centered.
Yep.
They will start to recognize, or the Spirit will start to move on their heart and see the error in their ways. But that takes time. And again,
How do you know that?
it can happen overnight. Oh, why do I know that?
Yeah.
Oh, because you fervently prayed over me.
Oh no, I was talking about because remember just last week you were thanking God for him like checking me and I came back to you. I
yeah,
thought that's
no,
what. See, look,
yeah.
I'm guilty because I'm up here
You're
thinking
guilty,
he's
yeah.
talking about me right now.
There are times though where I be like, Lord, like I didn't have I didn't have it in me. I didn't say it. I didn't have the energy, the time. I was like, Lord, if you could just work this out for me, that'd be great. Because I want to be delicate, but I don't want to cause that much strife in my home. I like my peace. Mm-hmm. And then sure enough, babe, I was reading my Bible and I saw that, I had a lot of pride yesterday. And I'm like, thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. You're so good.
Oh my God.
Oh.
It's so important. Like, we're like literally experiencing that aspect of having a God-centered marriage and why it is so quintessential to have, because he is our mediator. He is that third string chord that's going to keep us together. Like, we can't do this without him. Mm-hmm. And like, I think too, now that we're so like locked in our relationship with him, both individually and as a couple, we can see how he's moving in the regard of like, he'll send me into the Bible on something that I disagree with you about, like he was right, and vice versa.
I also think this doesn't work if we're not debriefing. Like, we debrief a lot about the things that we discover in Scripture. Yeah, and like sometimes people can have like individual spiritual journeys and feel like you're in a relationship, but you're not studying the Bible together or like coming back together with like what you found. Right. And I think when we exchange like what we found, even our dreams, sometimes we wake up and be like, you had this dream, I had this dream. Mm-hmm. Wow, they lined up. Like, we're both being told something about a similar situation.
Even Bible study today.
Yeah, and then having Bible studies.
Because you're one now, so it makes sense why he would give you guys like kind of two different downloads with the idea that you guys are going to come together as one and unpack it and discuss it.
You have to come together as one. Otherwise, you are still two in a relationship that's supposed to be one. You're two halves of the brain of the family. Yes. So like, you gotta debrief. Anyways,
I think that's what a lot of women are gonna have to do if they want to find a quality man. If you want to find a good man, you're going to have to set your standard of excellence high.
And you know what?
I mean that you gotta set your standards, but I sometimes have to catch myself like, who was I?
What?
You want to find a quality man? Like
I mean, it's true. I found a quality man. I would say that's accurate, though.
Yeah,
we weren't perfect. We still aren't. But like, I think that
we were doing our best. We were doing our best.
We have men followers too, so I want like that to be known too. It's vice versa as well. Exactly. We're more so speaking from the women point of view because we're talking about women submitting. But there are times when men have low standards for women too. Yes. Not all women are deserving of a great man. You know what I mean? Like, it goes both ways. It's not just one gender is great and, more so women. Yes, a lot of us need to do way better. But some men need to do better with their selections too.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes men just go for like the pretty and submissive type. I think a lot of men go for that because they don't want a lot of...
What did you call that? You said later.
Low hanging fruit?
No, Joshua. You said that the word wasn't submissive. It was a different word you were fishing for. Subservient, which meant what again?
Subservient means that you are just at the beckoning call of somebody. Mm-hmm. Submissive is different. You're like, you go ahead.
Just because I know. Subservient?
Yeah.
Okay. Subservient, prepare to obey others unquestionably. Yeah. Yeah.
That's that. I think.
Unquestioningly,
yeah. I think that was like what we thought submission was.
Yeah, absolutely.
We mixed up subservient with submission. And submitting is way different than subservient.
Yes, okay, so that's subservient. And then submissive, in the Bible, submission means to obey or yield to someone else's will. It can also mean to honor and respect someone.
Yeah, and I think when it says obeying the will, it's not talking about my will per se.
God's will.
It's talking about God's will because I'm a God-centered man. I'm getting my directions from God. So you conforming to my whatever will is not my will. It's God's will.
I mean, it has a breakdown here in terms of marriage. Wives should rewind that or cut that out. Wives should submit to their husbands in everything as a way to honor and respect their husband. This doesn't mean that wives should suppress their own thoughts and desires, but rather that they should respect their husband's point of view, humbly share their opinion with him, not invalidate him, and trust his decision as a leader. See, our goofy self, all we had to do was look it up.
All we had to do was Google. All we needed was Google.
That gives clarity to that. That puts that to rest.
Yeah, that really does put that to rest.
I push back in terms of where they're going with the like very very self-absorbed, like very self-directional. Like they're more concerned with self and their self-objectives than a relationship. So if they find somebody that challenges their direction, i.e. doesn't submit to their direction, then they're done with it.
I be challenging the crap out of you.
But like, yeah, you challenge my direction. At first, it's annoying. I will say that. I'm gonna come to truth with it. It's annoying as hell sometimes when you like challenge an idea or a direction that I go. But it's up to me to either accept the challenge and prove you wrong, or take what you have into consideration and really take a self-check. Like
Maybe she's right.
maybe she's right.
It's also like a devil's advocate thing.
I think I should always take into consideration what you have to say.
Yeah.
Just because in wisdom, this is the difference between knowledge and wisdom. Knowledge will say, I know what I'm talking about. Wisdom says, from times past and foolish mistakes, my wife was correct. And that's why I will always validate your opinion in a situation. Because I know I could, I just read this in Proverbs. It said, who believes he's wise in his own eyes? Even a fool is better off than him. Okay, I'm not trying to be wise in my own eyes. I like counsel. I like to bounce ideas off of you, and I know you have a good mind. You be thinking good. So like, I like when we bounce ideas off each other and you can poke holes in it, because then I know it's a more solid plan. And then when we finally do that and we like, God, we got this thing for you. Can you like discount, double check this for us? Then I know like it's a way better decision for both of us to like move forward on that. So yeah, definitely take into consideration what you gotta say. I don't know what I was saying there, but
I think we do that both for each other. Kind of like, you sure about that? Blah, blah. And that's the part of like the equal thing in a relationship.
Yeah.
'Cause if you want a woman to be submissive so she doesn't challenge you and then you make a stupid decision that messes up your... Like, I have heard so many stories about like more so it being a relationship where the woman is submissive, the man runs things, he messes up everything financially, everything. And we always say how that's one of the top things that could ruin a marriage.
If there's like a situation where there's no pushback, I feel like it's just like you jumped on a train going 100 miles an hour, you don't know where it's going, and it's likely to crash at some point, but you don't know that.
Yeah.
It could sail, it could crash.
And even when you do prove your direction to me or whatever, I still wouldn't feel 100% comfortable. Like, okay, you can handle everything.
I'm not
It doesn't
self-centered.
matter, because even if I got to the point where I had direction for everything, you
you're not
wouldn't want to do that
self-centered.
either,
Yeah.
because it's our life. Like, being in a relationship, being in a marriage or whatever, it's a union, but you're still individuals. You're still supposed to have your own career paths, your own goals and stuff like that. Stuff together, yes, but that, I know people say like when you become married or whatever, two becomes one, you become one. In a sense.
Or whatever. Oh gosh.
it's gonna let you have it.
Or whatever.
Trying to give you some grace.
Baby. Oh, poor baby. She didn't know.
I think you just weren't ready. Just weren't ready, and that's okay. That's okay.
But you're still supposed to have your individuality. So therefore, I feel like handing over your power to somebody else because they've proven themselves to be a leader.
A good
You get what
leader.
I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Like, it just really doesn't make any sense to me. Why anyone would submit 100%.
I feel like some people are
Subservient.
okay with just saying, I don't want to deal with the stress of being the leader of the family. I don't want to deal with that.
I see. You know, that's hard for me to like shift.
It's hard for you to grasp.
Yeah, because I'm like, what?
The Virgo in you, the strong, independent woman in you, wants to grab the wheel
Like,
by the
what?
like, you want to grab the life by the horns and take that. You want to direct it. But some people are not built like you.
That's true.
And some people aren't built like me. Like if I was the type to be like, I'm focused on direction, this relationship comes totally second, and if you try and interrupt my direction, get out my way. This would not work.
Yeah.
It just wouldn't work. We both have a very alpha mentality, but I think we both...
But it doesn't clash.
It doesn't clash, and I think it's because I submitted. I think it's because naturally I didn't have to try to be the authoritative figure because society has already made me the authoritative figure. So I had to take a self-check and realize that like by societal standards, I'm supposed to be at the top. But I decided...
Because you're a man.
Yes, just strictly off the fact that I didn't have to prove a damn thing.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
societal standards just put me there. Didn't have to prove anything from birth. They just put us at the forefront. So I had to take a self-check and realize that, like, I like your direction. I like the fact that you challenged the directions that I have. Because there's been a lot of decisions that have probably been terrible decisions that you've challenged, and it's taken me to a better place.
This, please. This is a lot. That's a lot.
It is a lot.
I want to point out, though, that we didn't in the last one. Although it does say, wives, submit to your husbands. Husband, love your wife the way Christ loved the church. There is a verse, Ephesians chapter 5, verse 21, that reads, submit to one another in the fear of Christ. Yeah. So there is we're boyfriend and girlfriend here, but there is...
Yeah, there is some submission that needs to take place. And I think that's the challenge with this video in particular. Yeah. Because in some instances, I'm like, okay. In other instances, I'm like, no way. Mm-hmm. Like, there's like a balancing act that's being played here, but that comes with like the maturation in Christ. Mm-hmm. I think like you could tell that there was remnants. It's like, man, I can see that somewhere in there you got a little something going, but like you have to.
I thought you said it was remnant. You just said it plural too.
Did I?
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
Okay.
There's a remnant of some.
Something was there.
Something was there.
I mean, seeds, our parents and most others that loved us planted multiple seeds in us.
I grew up in the church, so I know it was in me, but it wasn't really kindled in a fire until my older years. Like,
got burned.
Yeah, some impurities really had to get burned off.
From both of us.
Yeah, like,
oh, man.
And I think like throughout the past couple of years, I've really gone through a fire that really was like, oh, I was foolish in a lot of areas, and those things really did have to get pruned and burned off in order for me to have a refined mind. Really. Because I really don't, like, I'm trying to get through to myself, and myself is here, so like I did the work, but it's just weird. It's weird.
I think it's just put me in a better spot. Because, like, had I just followed my honestly crazy sense of, like, I jumped from idea to idea.
Yeah.
It's probably just the lack of focus in me, or the lack of maturity in me. To the sense where, like, I'm in a young spot where I'm doing a lot of things where I'm just trying this, trying that, trying this. And you've challenged those ideas.
Sorry, just keep in mind, I think we've already touched on this.
We came later to find out.
But yeah.
We came later to find out that there was actually a reason for my disorderliness. I was diagnosed with ADHD a couple years back.
Our wedding year, the beginning of 2022.
Yeah.
We found out about that.
And then everything started to click and make sense at that point. But thanks be unto God, like, I found ways with God to actually overcome that. I don't take any pills anymore. I start my day off with prayer and meditation and Bible study, and that really gets me focused. I feel like
it centers you, calms you.
And I asked the Holy Spirit, like, Lord, like, Holy Spirit, can you please come, dwell inside of me, give me focus, give me clarity, give me the things that I need for today to get the things done that need to be done today. It gets me through. It really gets me through.
That's awesome.
I was really dependent on things outside of God to fix that problem, and then it also caused me to spiral. Weed, Adderall. Yeah, just bad stuff, y'all. Just bad stuff. Don't go that route. If I can give you any advice in that department, don't go that route. If you desperately need medication, do medication, but don't self-medicate for sure. Like, get some professional help, and then learn how to build a plan on how to work your way off. Because I worked my way in and then just cut it off and then jumped off the rocker at the deep end, and then that's when a bad investment came.
Things got dark.
Things got a whole bunch of stuff. But yeah.
Ideas, and if I didn't have someone like you to challenge those ideas, I'd probably be going down a whole bunch of different paths that like lead me to nothing.
And I also want to say there's a difference between like challenging and crushing someone's dreams. You can correct me if I'm wrong. I don't feel like anything you've ever brought to me I've crushed. Like, no, absolutely not. Blah blah blah. The challenge is more so, well, how are you gonna do this? Well, how's this gonna happen? When are you gonna that? There's a difference between challenging and completely like belittling someone's ideas.
Yeah, and I guess everybody can kind of take this into account. Don't take the approach of like if someone brings you an idea, you don't necessarily care for it.
In particular.
Yes, your significant other, you don't care for it. That's not the time to tell them, oh, I don't like that idea, or that's a terrible idea. You should not do that. Her questions are more so, okay, she'll accept it.
The key, ladies, you heard him say questions. I don't think in any of those scenarios I really told you what to do.
Yeah.
Just asked a lot of questions similar to what he was saying. Like, I poke holes into things, and if he's able to answer them confidently and he feels confident about it, then it's kind of like a green light, move forward type thing.
Yeah.
But if not, it kind of allows him to check himself. It's not really our responsibility to check our men or our husbands. Yeah. I just like that you mentioned questions. I asked you questions.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I will say, if I'm blatantly biblically wrong, there's a green light for you to bring me to the word and give me a respectful check. Like, you need to do this.
I thought you were just talking about ID. We were talking. Yeah, I was talking on the surface of where Josh and AC were talking.
Oh yeah. And other steps, like that's just gonna cause a lot of strife to constantly be like trying to check your man, because then you're trying to lead. You're honestly like you're trying to usurp power. But okay.
So this is what you want to do. Now I'm going to see if it's really what you want to do. So do you have a plan? Like, what's your first step? What are you going to do to make this happen for you? Is it really something you want to do?
Can you do it in 10 years? So
Yeah,
like
you
it's just,
see it happening for 10 years. Are you doing this for money, or are you doing this for happiness?
Right.
Because like if you're doing it for money, you're going to burn out fast.
those are ways to challenge someone without, even if you don't think their idea is a good thing, there's ways, and that's a part of, I feel like, kind of emotional maturity, but also that's a more loving thing to do. If you really love the person you're with, because so often so many people are just harsh with each other, and that's something like, you were never harsh with me, but like in the beginning of our relationship, I kind of had to teach Josh, like, be delicate with me, be gentle with me in the sense of how you talk to me, how you explain something to me. If I'm giving him an idea I'm really excited about and he's rude about it, that's a form of not being delicate with somebody that you supposedly love. So like that's why whenever he brings me an idea, even if I don't like it, I try not to be like a butthole about it, because I know this is something that made sense in your mind or something you were excited about. So like crushing that's not like love. Challenging that is love. And if you have kind of all the right answers that might, not right answers for me, right answers for you with your idea, and you're able to answer the whys and stuff, then it's like, oh, okay, this makes more sense, even if I didn't get it in the beginning.
I think it's an obligation of a significant other to challenge the other person.
She was there.
It should be.
It should.
But based off the Bible, while we're talking about this in the first place, submitting is not really challenging.
Literally, submission eliminates one person out of the equation.
Then I
for the
she
rest
lost
of the family. It's so crazy because like I'm very religious, but I don't agree with it. I don't agree with the fact that like if we just said scrap whatever, scrap it, scrap YouTube, scrap all that. I'm gonna do me, I'm gonna do Papa Dough, and we're gonna work this out with just the Papa Dough money, whatever. Just follow me and we're good. We would not be in a better place.
I also think it's interesting too, because when they said that, wives submit to your husbands, they didn't say that the husbands needed to meet a certain requirement to deserve that submission. So like what instantly comes to my head, with your mom raising you and your siblings, your dad was a doctor. So he could afford that with her not needing to work and being able to raise y'all. So in that sense, if it's like wives submit to your husbands, and this is just financially,
Yeah,
we're just taking out
play
everything
out like
else. Sometimes, that's a little bit understandable-ish.
It sometimes plays out in that way because
But not a lot of times is
But
what
not a
I'm
lot of
getting
times.
at. Like, you're telling women to submit to their husbands, but what requirements do those men need to meet in order for a woman to submit anyway? Do they need to be financially stable or have a financial surplus? And that's taking out mental, emotional, and spiritual. Because who knows where they are with that, but you want us to submit to someone based off what?
You got an answer for 2019, EC?
You submit based off that man's relationship to God.
Okay.
You see how, like, and that's why I think it's important to vet the relationship before you get into the stage where you have to submit to your husband. You have to see how your boyfriend or your significant other, we were so politically trying to play it so safe, significant other.
Yeah.
But you have to see how that person submits to Christ before saying your vows under the banner of Christ. Because then you can trust their judgment. You can trust like, okay, this man is sound because he's under the banner of Christ. He has a ship and a sail.
Yeah.
And the Lord is the wind. But if the man's just on his own, like that's up to you. Discretion is advised, but that's up to you if that's what you want to do. But I would say that the best person to submit to is a man that's submitted to Christ, because then you're getting your directions from Christ that you know. The Christ that you know is the Christ that he's submitting to, and then every time he brings something to your table, it's Christ led.
I mean, you know exactly. That was the word I was going to say. You know who's leading him.
Exactly.
That's the most important part, because a man without a woo.
Yeah. And this is a prime definition of like wrestling with scripture with no understanding. I think like we were wrestling with ourselves at this point because like one, we didn't understand what submit was. We didn't have context to it. We just brought our own definitions to the table and then argued with our own definitions.
He left us to ourselves.
Yeah, left us to our own devices to like tussle this out.
Tussle it out.
I'm pretty sure he was probably cracking up at us like, wow, young
These
children,
kiddos.
these kids, especially because he had 4 of you of like this.
I think it has, like, if you're going to submit,
It's not enough.
ladies, if you're going to submit, if you're going to choose that, he honestly needs to strike all those points. He needs to be mentally, physically, emotionally sound, financially sound, spiritually sound.
That's if you're into that. If you're spiritual
into the
or whatever.
whole submission thing, if you're into just
No, you have to be spiritually sound. That's probably the most important
I
one.
was want to throw up for real.
That's probably the most important one. Yeah. Actually, not probably. It is the most important one because if you're spiritually sound, then you will be.
Everything
more
else
emotionally
will
sound.
be.
Yeah, everything else.
Okay.
Because if you're spiritually sound, trust me, this thing got the directions for all them other ones.
Literally.
For all them other ones.
Literally.
Yeah. I just think we weren't standing 10 toes on what we believe.
Because we didn't know. I didn't know.
I wasn't standing 10 toes on what I believe. But I think I was also trying to be pleasing to man. I was more afraid of man than I was of God.
Ooh. What's that one?
And that's no longer.
What is that verse? Matthew chapter 10, verse 28.
Yeah.
And do not fear those who kill the body, but cannot kill the soul. Rather be afraid of the one who can destroy both soul and body in hell.
Yep.
AKA God is the only one who can do that.
Yeah.
So the opinions of men, they might be able to kill you or cancel you.
Yeah, but you can't cancel a dead man. I already died in this world. I'm a new creation.
Amen.
Right. It is what it is.
Okay.
But yeah, this.
Woo, this is, come on. We almost
giving up the reins to another person for the direction of your family and your life, then he needs to meet all the criteria that you want. That way you're not submitting to someone that drug dealer ex-con. Don't submit to that kind of
He might be
stuff.
a mean person. I don't know any word other than
I don't know how else to
mean.
explain it.
That was very judgmental. I apologize for that.
the drug dealer ex-con.
Yeah, because they can have Christ in their life too.
True. Well, yeah.
They could be changed. They could be
Absolutely,
changed.
absolutely.
If you judge someone based off their past performances, you won't get anywhere. I promise you, because you had
That's
a past
facts.
performance too.
That's facts.
I call it like I said.
Performances. Yeah.
Yeah.
I really mean
You
somebody.
need to write down everything that is worth submitting to if you're going to submit.
If that's the route you're gonna
If
go.
that's the
if
route.
you like me,
If you like her,
find you somebody who's
willing to compromise. You need to find someone that's willing
I'm glad
to
you shut me up.
join you on the submission train. Because it's kind of a yin and yang submit. I'm not trying to overpower her, but she's not trying to overpower me. Like I
That's
said,
facts.
we're holding the ball
Still
together.
facts.
Together. We're holding it together. And like,
But if we're in fourth quarter and the clock is running down to 10 seconds, I will give you the ball to switch that thing. Because I don't got the capability.
I am
To
clutch.
be clear. You
I am
are.
clutch fourth quarter.
You are.
Yeah, we've had a couple moments like that too.
Yeah. So I trust your judgment. I trust your leadership. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Years have come to show.
And that's what I'm saying. Like when the stakes get real high and then things get shaky, like
I don't want to be.
I put it
Don't
on
look
my
at
back.
you.
Put it on my back, man.
I think that's just kind of like getting to know the person you're in the relationship with.
Yeah.
You kind of need to establish those kind of standards. Is there a head of household? Who's the head of household? What is the direction of the household?
Because this is what works for us.
It works for us.
Like we
Christ was the answer to all of those.
Yeah.
both said, we're alpha personalities.
But you
So
didn't feel that
it
way
had to
anymore.
happen this way.
Alpha
It just
personality.
there was no other way.
Yeah, can I address alpha?
The only alpha omega. Okay, let me stop though. Go ahead.
No, for real.
Right.
Like I feel like sometimes like we get caught up in like these anecdotes or titles of like, oh, I'm an alpha male. But again, these titles, all they do is bump up your pride. Like the more titles you get, the more pride you have, and then somebody's gonna come and poke at your alpha male status, and your pride is gonna show.
Yeah.
Like-
That's good.
I am a man of God. I don't know if that makes me alpha, beta, anything in between. I know that I'm strong in what I believe, and I know I will stomp anybody that comes through that door.
Amen.
And tries to bring hell in this home. So whatever category that places me in, I think it just places me as a man of God. Point blank period. You can keep that alpha male, beta male, all that other delta, whatever to yourself. I don't care about all that title stuff.
Amen.
And this was gonna work.
This is what, almost 5 years of us working out the kinks of how this is gonna go.
Yeah.
Cause we told y'all, year 1, tough.
Year 2, tough. Year 3, tough. Year 4, tough. Year 5, this is the best year we've had.
In there.
Honestly, man.
It's been tough. And people see the good out of the
Yeah.
relationship.
You know what's crazy? For me, I don't know how you feel about it. I don't remember whatever tough times we're referring to so deeply and passionately about. For the most part, I remember our relationship has been rather joyous for
We
me.
just bickered. That's it. We just bickered over stuff that didn't matter 15 minutes later.
Right, which I can't remember for real. Like, what was
It doesn't hold a candle to marriage. I'll tell you that right now. Because the stuff that we went through in marriage, I don't think we're forgetting. All right?
No.
Far from forgetting anything that happened in marriage as opposed to boyfriend girlfriend. I can't tell you what happened at year 3. I couldn't tell you what happened at year 1. At year 5, like I can't even tell you what happened like the year before us getting married. Really, I mean, I have a couple things on my mind, but like not nearly as heavy as everything that took place within marriage. Because the devil was like, "Oh, y'all."
He said, "Y'all signed that
I'm
covenant."
trying to get that covenant, right?
Yeah.
All right, bet. Stepping up to the plate.
Eesh.
Yeah, much different. Prepare yourself.
Hello.
And just it's a friendly warning.
Hello.
It's a friendly warning.
That's kind of what we're here to start shedding more light on. But
We're just gonna give you the real.
yeah,
Be honest.
yeah.
I've had a beautiful relationship, but
I will say though that God has already won that victory, and He will continue to. Just to be clear, you know what I mean? Like the devil will continue his attacks and whatnot, but as long as you know whose team you're on,
No
and
weapon
team you're on
formed against you
shall prosper. Say it again.
No weapon formed against you shall prosper. That doesn't mean that the weapons won't be made. That don't mean they won't hit you. That don't mean they won't hurt. It just means they won't kill
They
you.
won't prosper.
we had kinks.
Yeah.
And yeah, when we're saying tough, we're kind of being goofy, but like they were tough years. Not every day of the year, but you know, it wasn't peaches and
It
cream
wasn't peaches.
all the time. So that's why we're like saying tough. But
Yeah.
this year has been probably the most like calm.
Yes.
I feel like
This is the most we've gone without having one of those
blow ups.
blow up power trips. Whereas like someone's just like,
I'm done.
I'm done. Like, I can't do it anymore type thing. Yes, we've come to points where we're like, hey,
I don't know about
I don't
this.
know.
We talked about it.
Yeah, we've come to points like that, but it's not like we're every day like, I'm out of it.
No.
I'm out. It's more like what we've said now. It's just trying to figure out rules, regulations.
You're
to the
meeting that
relationship.
bar of
Bars of
excellence.
excellence.
Yeah.
She's had bars of excellence to reach a vine. I have definitely set standards that she needs to reach because golly, she was a piece of work when we first got in a relationship.
You ain't nothing.
You were a piece, I was a piece of work. I know. When we tell you about year 4, you will realize I was a piece of work. But she was also a piece of work. It's in different aspects of our lives, but we both had standards that need to be met.
So I'm gonna say an example of when I submitted to you, and you say an example when you submitted to me.
Oh.
So a time that comes to my mind when I had to be submissive in this relationship, meet your bar of excellence, because you required it of me, is learning to apologize.
Oh yeah.
And even now, it comes out more easy. Like last night, I was like, I'm sorry. He's like, that's what I want.
That's not submission. That's just simple human decency. That ain't got nothing to do with submission. That is simple human decency. Got a lick to do with submission. That's
You making my stomach hurt.
that is just fundamental. Fundamental.
I just thought that was so like.
I submitted. No.
Woo!
No.
Ooh.
Good try, though. Good try. We caught you. Took some time, but we
I
caught
would have
you.
did that like 2-3 years ago. Like it just comes out.
Even
like
then,
that.
though, but
I know it was a struggle. It was a struggle.
sorry, and then you threw on.
I know. I'm just saying that was something though that I didn't do at all.
Yeah, I know.
When we first started.
It was really like pulling teeth to get her to say the words I'm sorry.
And that was something that I had to submit to be with you.
Yes. You just had to submit to the standard that I said, which is basically like in this relationship, we're not submitting
accountability.
We're submitting to the rules that we set for the relationship.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I like that. Yeah. Okay.
It's like right when I start having faith in myself. God reminds me that I need to have faith in the Lord. We submit to the rules that God has set. Jesus. Not that we have set. I mean, granted, there are some like guidelines and boundaries and stuff like that we can set. And be like, look, I have some boundaries and this is like personal peeves. Like, yeah, we can set those. But truth be told, the ultimate authority and rules that we follow and submit under are God's.
Yeah.
So we're not like, it's not like I'm submitting to you. I'm just submitting to the laundry list of rules that we have set for this relationship. So like when we both came to the agreement that like if we're in an argument that I'm sorry if you're sorry, we both need to be sorry. And we both need to say it. That's a rule that we've set and now we're both going to submit to that rule. That's the authoritative.
It was so close. We were so close. Like this is actually what it was, but it was not our rule.
Yeah.
You know, we were real close.
Yeah.
Real close.
It's like the
relationship has authority over us.
The relationship has
The relationship runs us. I don't know why we're pointing to the wall like that's the relationship.
God.
Yeah, that was my time though. I feel like I had to learn to let my pride come down a little bit and apologize. But you were worth it though.
Yep.
For me to submit to the relationship.
Yeah.
If you weren't, then I would just been like, screw it, I'm gonna just keep being prideful. And
I had to prove that I was worth submitting to that.
You were worth me,
submitting to that rule.
Compromising, taking accountability for when I was wrong.
I had to submit to the fact that I can't treat you like I treat everybody else or like my boys. I was so used to treating everybody the same in terms of like speaking plainly, almost speaking in an authoritative, you should be submitting to me kind of voice, tone. Like you should be listening to me, that's it.
Yeah.
I had to submit to the fact that that's not the case in this relationship.
Not how you talk.
Yeah, that's not how that works in this dynamic. Leadership in a Christ-centered relationship looks more like servanthood and death to self. Not necessarily like listen to me and be served by you. I think I definitely had a warped view of like you're supposed to be catering to me, but servant leadership says I cater to you.
Well, love says we do it for each other.
Yeah, love says we cater to each other.
Yeah, we serve each other. But
yeah. Tough watch.
Up to me.
That's not how this goes. And like, it's not like one day you just like punched me in my face and was like, nigga, you not gonna talk to me like this no more. It's just a matter of like, you go through the same thing over and over and over and over enough times. Either something changes or this is gonna crash and burn.
You know, I have a better example for you.
What?
We used to hit walls.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Josh used to punch stuff when he got mad, y'all. It was never anything I did that made him do it, but like, it still scared the crap out of me. Somebody might make him mad. That's the only way you knew how to express your anger at that time.
I was not emotionally intelligent, so like the only two emotions I knew were happiness and anger. So like if I like stubbed my toe or like someone hurt my feelings, I would go like
punch a wall,
kick
or
something,
door or something,
or like break something. That's it.
And I said I can't be with nobody like that. So you're gonna fix that or seduce.
I could see it in her face. She was scared, and I think that's what.
Yeah, because I'm smart enough to know that even if those reactions for you weren't caused by me at all, eventually down the line, if we were in a long-term relationship, that would be on the table. I had no doubt that we would eventually get into an argument or whatever. Because this is early in the beginning of our relationship, like within the first few months that I had noticed that about him. I don't like that angry stuff. Like anger in that way. It's fine if he gets angry, but when it goes to like a physical side, I don't like none of that. That can go south very fast. And
that's honestly like, that's a red flag.
Yeah, it was a red, and I think I told you that. I was like, that's kind of a red flag for me. Because what's going to happen when it gets to the point where we're together for a long time and I might piss you off to the max that your friends or your teammates have done, and now you're hitting wall, like, you know what I mean?
That puts you in a hostile environment.
Yes. And I wasn't going to live like that.
Yeah.
I wasn't.
I had testosterone down.
And you learned a better way, I feel like, to deal with your emotions. Because that was something I kind of required or set the bar for in this relationship too. Like, you need to talk to me. Like, Josh, bro, in the beginning of our relationship, man, this man would not talk.
I wouldn't talk about my feelings at all. Look, would not, like, eating chills, this would never happen. I would
Absolutely
I'd
not.
be so surface level in my thought process.
Not a world.
Oh my god.
I think even there, like, I don't think I even had that much emotional intelligence.
Mm-hmm. Right. That's why I'm just like 5 years later and you're
Still trying to figure it out.
It's beautiful though, babe. Because we're not those people anymore.
Yeah, for sure.
And I can't even remember that version of you, but I believe like what we're saying is true. But like now, because you have evolved so much in your emotional maturity and just like your relationship with yourself, being able to ask you questions and you being able to respond is like a light years difference from when we first started dating. However, we're pulling up on a decade. Next year in February, that'll be a decade of dating. Yes. So like, man, it's so important to remember, like, you're never gonna get a perfect partner and you're not perfect either. But if you find someone who you can work things out with and that they're giving effort, you're giving effort, and you see, I don't really like to say the potential. I don't know if it was a matter we saw the potential in each other, but maybe we saw the potential in the future we could have together because of like our foundation.
Yeah.
The pillars that we individually had in our foundation that ultimately our parents and God instilled in us. But like, you were worth, for me, going through all those seasons, all these changes and evolution with.
Regardless of your potential or not, I knew that the love was there and you were willing to work.
Yeah, same.
Like, if you were willing to work through the ups and downs, it don't matter. We'll figure out the other stuff, the jobs, the money, like all of that stuff will work out. But are you willing to go through the mud with me?
Right.
Like, are you willing to ride this thing called life out with me?
Yeah.
And can we make it through together without killing each other?
Right. But I think like the friendship thing, I think. I know for a fact our friendship was a huge pillar that has sustained us over these years during those seasons where like we weren't really seeing eye to eye or on the same frequency and whatnot. There's never, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think we've ever lost the mutual respect for each other.
No.
Over these 10 years. Yeah. Oh yeah, because around this time you was hitting my line on Christmas break.
Around this time.
Like, we technically been dating 10 years already.
Oh,
just
you're
without
talking
an official
about,
like title.
Oh, you're talking about way in the beginning.
Yes. 10 years ago, you was hitting my line.
I don't know what I was saying because I was barely talking.
Right.
You just like the way I looked. I bet you on that phone just cheesy.
We were friends before that though, babe. We had very good like intellectual conversation and banter.
We had been.
And we laughed a lot together, regardless. But I guess, we didn't really go all that deep. We didn't deep dive as much until the relationship officially started.
Yeah.
Says that you guys would probably get the most basic of basic information.
But nobody required that of you.
Nobody
To
required.
express your feelings. And he had not, like, I think a lot of you guys know I'm his first girlfriend. So this is the first time he had to learn how to be emotionally vulnerable with somebody.
And I promise you, there was like,
Boy, that was, woo!
if someone pissed me off, I told you, there's something I would either go work out, hit a wall, find something, and like just get over it. Maybe those emotions were still bottled up inside, and I think we kind of unpacked those as this relationship moved forward. It was like a growth process, but she helped me like practically unpack the entire life that I had before we were in a relationship throughout the course of this 5 years. Not in one full sitting.
Oh, yeah, no.
Not in one. It wasn't like one long therapy session, but like
We still in therapy.
over the
together.
time, she's like asked good questions.
Today.
Like, where does this come from? Why do you think you're this way? Being in the relationship, it's not like I can just ignore her. I have to answer those questions. So, like, I don't know. I seen benefit in it, and that's probably the reason why I stuck around. Because, like, honestly, I could have just said, I ain't got to explain nothing to you. I'm probably going to get out of this.
Stay in your ways.
Yeah.
Which doesn't help you to grow.
It doesn't help me to grow. And I'm big on self-improvement and self-growth. And I feel like you bring that out of me, which is why I think you're like the best thing for me. You know? No one else challenges me.
Thanks, babe.
Everyone else just kind of says, "This is what you're doing."
Okay.
Cool, man. Good luck. But you look at me like, you sure? You sure you want to do that? I just appreciate it, and I don't think I would get that if you were submissive. If you were submissive, you'd be just like
Subservient.
Subservient.
Go for it. Right there. Honestly, I'd be going in circles. I'd be right back in year 4. Be right back in year 4.
Oh, this is a good topic.
Year 4 is the reason why I'm here in year 5.
Period.
To be totally honest.
Oh, I'm excited to do that for y'all. That might be our next issue.
Get this video to 3,000 likes.
Oh
Oh. I've come a long way since the last time reacting to this.
Yeah.
Because I was ready to punch myself in the screen. Like, brother, you can't be saying this kind of stuff. But it's beautiful to see the growth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just grateful to be doing this life with you.
Yeah.
I love that. Like, I blushed while you were saying that, even before EC in that time like blushed, and to still have that same like, you know, love and giddiness and like comfortability here.
Yeah.
I'm grateful for that.
I think it's beautiful that, like, through all the craziness, whatever, it's beautiful to know that the love is still there.
Yeah. Stronger than
It's
ever.
just stronger.
Yeah.
And more wiser.
Yeah.
It's like,
Better.
it's better.
So much better.
It pays to stay.
Yeah.
Yeah. You really grow. And you get to, like, see that growth. Especially because we lived our life out publicly.
Right. I do think that's we're gonna have to like do an updated our own video of this. I do think now that we've done like the reaction part, but also you saying that like it pays to stay, I think is such a crucial conversation to have even in a separate video, because a lot of people miss out to me on their biggest blessings because it's kind of this like instant gratification type thing, and if it's no longer serving you, then it's away with it, when it's like you shouldn't be so dismissive and dispose of other human beings like that.
And I love that, like, although our relationship played out sort of online as if it was a business, we didn't treat it like it was a business. Because most times when a business is failing, it's like, oh, we'll just scrap the business and move on. And I think a lot of people were like saying back in those days, like, marriage is a business, like, you guys are partners. And like I could
it's
see
a worldly view to think in just that context about marriage.
Yeah, especially when you hear statistics like 90% of businesses fail within 3 years. Like,
and marriage is what, 49%, or divorce rate is about 49 to 50%. No wonder.
Yeah, like it makes sense when you start comparing it like that, why the numbers
if
are
your
the way
business
they
is
are.
tanking, then of course you're gonna abort ship, abort mission.
You think that the marriage was based off of financial success, and trust me, financial hardships come at some point or another. You're gonna have to learn how to tough it out. I think that's one of those marriage tests.
Yeah, so many tests. There's gonna be so many
You're
tests.
gonna get a layer of
But man, if I had to select a partner to do this test stuff with, Mr. 4.0, this is the guy. That's who I wanted to lock in with. Okay, what were the assignments and the projects? I remember we had a course together in college that we did have an actual project to do together, a presentation. You remember that? Rent a car.
Yeah.
We put together a whole like marketing scheme for. But anyway, it's just that's crazy.
Yeah. And we also had a math class together.
Yeah, but we weren't dating then. I just lied.
Nah,
to
you
you.
were just crushing on me.
He wouldn't notice if I didn't tell him, but he loves to throw that type of stuff up in there. Anyway, hope you guys
Yeah, that's all we got for this
enjoyed
video.
this
man.
video. Please give it a thumbs up if you did. Comment, subscribe. What are your thoughts even on this topic as well? We love to like read those. And just let us know if you guys want us to continue this reacting to our old content.
And if you want us to react to year like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever, if the whole years of our relationship, just put those down in the comment section.
We have to film a year 2 of marriage pretty soon here.
Yeah, we do.
We're in year 3 right now.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Thank you guys, by the way. Those, especially OGs that have been
That
rocking through this journey, like
Since
saw
this
that.
craziness.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
greatly appreciate you guys for
Respect.
your grace and your patience and
Respect.
just love.
In the spirit of thankfulness, we are thankful for y'all too.
Yes.
But Yeah, that's all we got for this video. So until next time, we love you guys, but we outie. Peace,
Love,
head grease, and we
Woo-cha.
out.